This is us. That's a thief. That's thievery. It's like breaking into my house, stealing something.
It's something many adults do every day, mailing a check to pay for essential services like housing, cars, and insurance policies. But what if your check is snagged by criminals? WCTV Investigates is looking into the rise of what is called check washing and how it's impacting people all across the Big Bend and nationwide. Our Zach Dahlheimer joins us now in the studio with more on this. And Zach, I know that you've been researching for this story for a while now. Tell us about just how serious this problem is in our area.
Well, Abby, just to put it in perspective, take a look at these numbers behind me here. You can see more than $1 billion in fraudulent checks and money orders are recovered by inspectors every year. This is all according to federal data. Now, I confirmed that there are active cases of check washing under investigation right now in our area. And some folks don't even realize that they've been targeted. Now, we spoke with several people who have gone through this and are now urging everyone to protect themselves.
We're very fortunate.
Right along the Franklin County coast, this slice of St. Teresa has been the Peoples family's piece of paradise for nearly 100 years. For Win Peoples and his wife Heather, vice president and general manager of WCTV, this home is filled with cherished memories with family and friends, but also the vulnerability of enduring multiple hurricanes.
We still have markings downstairs where water came up and destroyed a lot, but not as much as some other homes.
This past August, they prepared for this year's season, mailing off a roughly $6,000 check for their Win insurance policy at this U.S. Postal Service blue box in Tallahassee. But just a few days after its due date, they soon came into a storm of their own.
We found out that the check had been stolen and actually washed. Inside here is our policy that was due by August 10th, and we wrote a check on 8/1 and paid in full. On the 15th, I received this letter. And this letter says that his policy is lapsed due to non-payment. This person or somebody had stolen the check and washed it and made it out to themselves, forged Heather's signature, left the amount the same, and the bank caught it.
Win immediately called their insurance agent while Heather checked with their bank to find out what happened.
The name had been, rewritten to someone else. Everything had been rewritten. It looked very, very different, and they had deposited it remotely, and fortunately, it didn't go through.
But what seemed like the loss of just one check nearly turned into losing so much more.
It makes you physically sick, really. It put us in a predicament because the insurance agent, could have taken this lapse of payment and said, I'm sorry, we're just not going to renew you.
It's very hard to get insurance on the coast in Florida. So I had worked really, really hard to get this policy written, and now they cancel me. So I was going to have to go through that same exercise again, and with a strong chance that I may not be able to find anybody.
Thankfully, their policy got reinstated, and since then, they've switched to electronic payments and mobile banking, but are leery about mailing checks.
I didn't realize how common it is. So it does make you wonder, where can you trust? How can you pay your bills?
In the last year and a half, I think it seems like it's targeted more both businesses and individuals.
Fred Fernandez is a U.S. postal inspector based in Tallahassee, investigating check washing and other mail crimes in our region.
We recover quite a bit in counterfeit checks a year.
The American Bankers Association says, according to the U.S. Treasury Department, check fraud has been on a rapid rise since the pandemic, spiking nationwide by 385%. U.S. Postal Inspection Service officials say chemicals can be used to wash checks, allowing others to change the amount or make themselves the payee. They then can deposit or cash your check and steal your money. Fernandez says check washing is not just a trend around the holidays, but year-round and can impact anybody.
It's basically the type of person that feels like they can utilize information and take advantage of people and commit fraud.
It's terrible for the customer. It's terrible for the company.
Mary Garland Ogden with Hartsfield Roofing in Tallahassee has seen firsthand the impacts of check washing on their business and customers.
Everybody 100% should know about this.
As Hartsfield's bookkeeper, she helped remedy their payroll system a couple of years ago after check washers interrupted payments. But around the start of this year, she says 2 customers mailing in checks to Hartsfield were washed out of thousands of dollars. One case involved a roughly $15,000 check tied to a homeowner.
It made her sick when she found out. I mean, her and her husband were just in disarray.
The other was a check linked to another capital city business.
The amount of the check was roughly around $20,000, and the amount that it was washed for was for triple that.
Hartsfield put in place safeguards, including more bank security for customers, doing electronic payments, and meeting customers to pick up checks in person. However, she emphasizes the impacts check washing can have on local businesses.
To have something like this happen to them, or even the company, is just absolutely tragic.
Fernandez protect your checks from being washed. One tip is using what's called indelible black ink, or ink that can't be erased or washed away, like a Sharpie, for example. Other tips include not leaving blank spaces in the payee or amount lines, not writing personal details on checks like your social security number or credit card info, using mobile or online banking to access copies of your checks to ensure they're not altered, and considering e-checks, ACH automatic payments, and other electronic or mobile payments. And those like the Peoples are also getting the word out in hopes of preventing anyone else from losing money or worse. Do you have any message you'd like to say to whoever did this to you?
To the person that actually did it, yeah, I'd like to chat with them. I sure would.
You don't take something that's not yours. Pretty simple. My granddaughter knows that.
Now, Fernandez says the banking industry has also come up with software to combat check washing, and some banks here in the Big Bend are using this, which helps investigators and ultimately customers. And you can read more from Fernandez about that and other initiatives and tips from the U.S. Postal Inspection Service to protect your checks and mail in this story right now at our website, WCTV.tv. And Abby, Fernandez also tells me check washing is considered bank fraud, a federal crime that could include a fine of up to $1 million, up to 30 years in prison, or both.
Very interesting story, Zach. Thank you so much for that, and some great tips on how we can keep ourselves safe. Thank you very much.